Why hello, Animagi and werewolves alike. Welcome back. I know it's been a while, and believe me, I have been very patient, so glad that this day has finally come, that we continue on with the third installment of my Harry Potter redo project. At the end of this video, there will be links provided to parts 1 and 2, so you can catch up at all the wonderful stuff that we have done in regard to discussing everyone's favorite boy wizard, Harry Potter. So of course, we had to wait for the illustrated edition to arrive, and it's here. I'm hoping that if you've read it, you've enjoyed it, because it is absolutely beautiful. I've rewatched the movie as always, and so of course today we are going to pick up where we left off and discuss the third book in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So, I had a feeling that this was going to be a very different read from the previous two, because this book begins on a very dreary and rainy day at the Dursley house, as Uncle Vernon's sister Aunt Marge is coming to visit, and Harry is not too thrilled about her, and she's not too fond of him either. And of course there's something very interesting taking place in the world of Muggles, because there is a dangerous criminal on the loose known as Sirius Black. And what Harry doesn't know until a little bit later on is Sirius Black is not just a criminal in the Muggle world. Rather, he is a criminal in the wizarding world. He has escaped from the best prison that the wizards have ever created, and that, of course, is Azkaban. And of course, like we didn't see this coming, Sirius Black is apparently out to finish what he started, and that is to kill Harry Potter. But that's not going to stop Harry from going to Hogwarts. As a matter of fact, he is ready to get together with his good friends Ron and Hermione and go through another year at Hogwarts. So this is probably one of the biggest fan favorites in regards to all of the books in the Harry Potter saga, and rightfully so, because this is a very exciting story. It is much more mature. We get to see a little bit more of the Hogwarts school in regards to all the different classes that the kids get to take in their third year. We also get to see some very interesting new teachers, like Professor Trelawney in Divination, and the new Professor Lupin, who was the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, as well as some of the other interesting things that the Harry Potter lore gave us that has been instilled in us now as Harry Potter faithful, like the Marauders map, and Hogsmeade, and Azkaban, of course. And it was definitely more of a mysterious story and a very on-your-edge kind of story, because everybody was wondering who Sirius Black was, how he was going to try and infiltrate Hogwarts to try and finish his mission, because he has these crazy close links to the Dark Lord. But as the story progresses, we learn a little bit more about Sirius Black, and more importantly, a little bit more about Harry Potter as well, and how the two of these individuals are connected. And believe me, it was a very exciting thing to see, not to mention what happens at the very end, and exactly how Harry feels about Sirius Black at the end of this book. One of the things that I love about this book is how they focus on Quidditch, and the fact that this is the Quidditch captain of Gryffindor, Oliver Wood's last year at Hogwarts, and he wants to win the Quidditch Cup more than anything else. We also see another interesting side to Harry Potter's life. All of a sudden, girls are starting to look appealing to him, and we are introduced very briefly to Cho Chang, who happens to be the Seeker of the Ravenclaw team, and he sort of develops a little crush on her. We're also introduced to the captain and the Seeker of the Hufflepuff team, who happens to be one of the most popular boys in all of Hogwarts, and that, of course, is Cedric Diggory. And we all know how big of a role he has to play in the next book. And we also get some amazing creatures. We learn about werewolves, we learn about animagus, we learn about hippogriffs, and we are introduced to Buckbeak the hippogriff thanks to Hagrid becoming one of the professors of the school, which was a very cute thing to see. But of course there's going to be a lot of challenges alongside worrying about Sirius Black. Of course Draco Malfoy and his cronies are back, and they're going to stop at nothing to make Harry Potter's time at Hogwarts a living hell. And there is an excellent ending to this book. It really lifts your spirits, and it just makes you all the more excited for the adventure ahead. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the beautiful illustrated edition that goes along in companion with this. So once again, we go back to these beautiful illustrated editions that are coming out over the next couple of years, and I was just so excited to get my hands on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, because when I first saw what the cover was, it looked absolutely beautiful. I mean, I love the great contrast of the deep dark purples and navies and blacks, along with the gorgeous glowing emerald green writing, and it's just such a great thing to actually see this brand new take on Harry Potter in book form. As I have said numerous times, it's like reading the books all over again for the first time, and I think that Jim Kay has done a beautiful job for J.K. Rowling in regards to bringing these books back to the public, and he's basically all over this book as the others in a wonderful way, because you've got this beautiful front cover, and then on the back you've got a beautiful sentiment from J.K. Rowling basically saying how much she appreciates what he has done, and of course you've got the night sky of Surrey in the back. And then when we open this book up, as always, we get beautiful stuff, different kinds of color pages with contrast, and it's just beautiful how it's navy blue and black writing, etc., etc. And we've also got some fantastic splash pages, like the werewolf, and you got the whole little lesson plan as if it were, as it says, property from Hogwarts Library. That's pretty fantastic, and you got these great pages like this one over here with the kids looking at all of the different animals, and there's this beautiful page right here that I had to show you guys that has all of the hippogriffs. But if there's anything that I could say that really just screams fantastic in regards to this book, it gets closer to the very end. And as you can see, like, here is Sirius Black as an animagus, basically continuing. He starts off with one page, and then he goes all the way through the rest, all the way to his tail. I think that that's fantastic. And I also just love this picture over here, which is the splash page of Harry conjuring his Patronus, and how on the next page you basically have the stag just galloping throughout the pages. It's beautiful. Although I will say that what really upset me was the fact that I thought we were going to get a nice little rainbow scheme here, because we already had red and orange with the Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, but no, this time we get purple. But then again, there's nothing wrong with purple. We also have the little dividing bookmark here in bright purple, so that's what makes these books so great. Just the illustrations, it's just a great read, and I can't stress enough how important these are to Harry Potter fans. You should get this in your collection if you are a fan, and all I can say is that the Goblet of Fire cannot come soon enough. And of course, we can't conclude without going into the Ultimate Edition of The Prisoner of Azkaban on DVD. So join me, won't you, for another exciting unboxing. So once again, we get another Ultimate Edition DVD box set, and this time around, it's a little bit of a different style, and for me personally, I kind of feel that it was a little bit of a downgrade. Don't get me wrong, I love the whole 3D effect, but I feel that the box is, unfortunately, a little bit more on the flimsy side than the first two, which were done just so beautifully, because as you can see, if I bring this closer, these are little tabs, so it's sort of like a layered box covering, so like the little hologram slash motion thingy is sort of like slid underneath these two little flaps, so you just have to be careful because you could break it, and that's one of the few things that I'm not too thrilled about. But all in all, it still keeps to the overall scheme that they're trying to do with the boxes, because you've got the year 3 number over here. You also have a little bit of a introduction to what the next series of documentary elements are going to be, and of course you've also got on the side binding, you've got Harry Potter Year 3, Prisoner of Azkaban, with a nice little picture of Harry over there in the diamond, and on the back, no different. You have a little bit of an insight as to what you're going to be receiving in this box. So it's also a little bit different when it comes to opening the box as well, because another problem is there used to be like a magnetic seal, and now it's not there anymore. It just opens up right away. Another thing that I'm not too thrilled about, a little bit more of a backscaling, but at the same time you have the same color throughout, which is brown. You also have Harry and the Diamond Year 3. Same thing on the binding on the side, as well as in the back, a nice little picture of the Whomping Willow with a little bit of a shiny background element to it. So then when we open this up, we also get the nice little splashes as well. I mean, the pictures from the movies, and of course I love the fact that we have Sirius Black, Have You Seen This Wizard Wanted poster right up in the front, along with some other scenes from the rest of the film, just like in the other two. So let's open the rest of this up and take a look at all the other goodies inside. So, of course, we have the DVD box itself, and it is pretty much the front cover of the box itself, which is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Year 3, and you see him, Ron, Hermione, you see Sirius Black, you see Buckbeak on the top over there, right next to the left-hand side of his head, and, of course, you've got some Dementors on the right. Another problem with this is the fact that it's not a 4-disc set this time around. Rather, it is a 3-disc set, because they're not giving us an extended edition of the film. A lot of people were not too happy about that. You still get some nice pictures over here, but you have the movie, you have the special features, and then you have the gold disc, which is basically the third part of the documentary that is being thrown into these DVD sets throughout. This one is called Creating the World of Harry Potter, Part 3, Creatures. And more backscaling, not too thrilled about this. We do have another one of those envelopes with more goodies inside, but it doesn't really feel like an envelope. Instead of that, it feels a little bit more squarish and boxy, which makes it a little bit more concerning for me when it comes to opening it up and possibly squishing it or breaking it. But it still does have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban on the front with the brown color like the rest of the DVD. And then when we take a look at the goodies inside, we have, of course, a code for the digital copy of the movie, as well as 2 new cards in the set. This time around, we have Hermione Granger, and we also have Sirius Black, and these are cards numbers 5 and 6, as you can see, as it says on the cards, which is good, but still, at the same time, I still feel that they pulled back a little bit in terms of the quality. And then, of course, we still do get the book. Luckily, they didn't do anything wrong with the book. This is fantastic. So we have the book that is sort of like a companion to the gold disc, which is all about creating the creatures of Harry Potter. And in this case, I like what they have on the back. They have claw marks going through the back, along with a little eye. It's probably a hippogriff. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it is still pretty cool to have. And then when you open it up, you do get these beautiful spreads. Like, here are all the creatures. You see everything from a Cornish pixie to Buckbeak, a hippogriff, to a phoenix. It's pretty cool. And of course, we have all of these little snippets from sketches, like the Dementor's hand over here, to other scenes from other movies, like here is Harry Potter and the Owlry from The Goblet of Fire. We also have some interesting little things, like this one over here. Here's a picture of Ron with his little owl that we really don't even see in the movie, so it was really cool to actually know that they were trying to add certain elements from the books that we may not have seen in the film, and we also get other things focusing on creatures themselves, like here a whole thing with the house elf, so we had Dobby and Creature, and here we have some interesting things in regards to the dragons. What I like about this was over here on the next page, we get other dragons that we did not see in the movie. Like, this one over here is the Welsh Green, and on the next page we see the Swedish Short Snout and the Chinese Fireball, which they only mentioned, which they could have in fact shown in the movie, but they chose not to. But it was pretty cool to actually see rough sketches of what they planned on creating. And you got the Basilisk over here. Very cool stuff in this book, and on the other cover we have more creatures like the elves and the dragons and one of the mandrakes. Again, a pretty cool book, and overall, I mean, it's a satisfying package, but it would have been nice to have the same quality as we had received in the Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets. But anyway, that's the unboxing for you guys. Let's get to the movie. So, of course, when we all knew that they were going to continue to make these films, everyone was excited for The Prisoner of Azkaban, especially considering the fact that the kids are getting older. We have a new director in Alfonso Cuarón, who happens to do very good things with children based on some of his past work. He wasn't that well known in the United States yet, but nowadays he's one of the most well-known and most artistic. And we also have some new cast members, including David Thewlis as Professor Lupin, and Emma Thompson as Sybil Trelawney, who without a doubt I wish there was a little bit more of her in this movie because she was just so loopy and funny. I mean, don't get me wrong, she played her role well, but there's a little bit of me inside that really wanted to see a little bit more of her. And of course, one of the make-or-break moments of this film was the fact that, unfortunately, Richard Harris, who played Albus Dumbledore, passed away right before the release of The Chamber of Secrets in 2002. So they replaced him with Michael Gambon. And I gotta tell you, would it have been the same for the first two films if Michael Gambon was in fact Dumbledore? I'm probably gonna say no. But Michael Gambon, as far as I'm concerned, is a much better Dumbledore than Richard Harris, because I just really like that he really brings the inner loopiness and the craftiness and the brains of Dumbledore much more so into the film, rather than what Richard Harris does, which was he was basically this holier-than-thou figure that Harry and the kids could always look up to. But that's also because of the fact that they were much younger. As the kids get older, they become a little bit more connected to the teachers. But of course, we also have Sirius Black himself, and he is played by the fantastic Gary Oldman. And even though Sirius Black doesn't have a big role in the book, he doesn't have a big role in the film either. But even though he is on screen for such a brief amount of time, oh my goodness, does Gary Oldman bring it. He gives me one of the best performances that I have seen in all of the Harry Potter stories in film, and him as Sirius Black was a perfect choice because not only did he give us a great performance, we also got to see him as a good guy for once, which was wonderful. And we also had Timothy Spall as well, another great cast member to be added who's going to play a much bigger role as the films go on. More money to be had in this film, and we definitely get more of a natural look with the kids, like they actually have their hair messed up, they can grow it long, they can grow it short. We also have an expansion of the grounds themselves, which also was really good to see, because it was nice to see that Hogwarts was not confined to this tiny little castle and courtyard. Rather, it was a grander place, like the little bridge that they actually have to go through to get to Hagrid's hut. It was just really nice to really see a lot more money invested into this film for a budget, because we really got some great special effects as well as great backdrops. We also have a very unique score from John Williams. It's the final time that he scores the film, and we definitely see a different side to John Williams. The use of the instruments that you don't often hear in his scores, he's usually very horn-based, but this time around we get a lot of woodwinds and a little bit of Mandarin guitar and harpsichord. It's really cool to see such a different side to John Williams, because while he may be one of the more familiar composers out there, to hear something different and unique, especially when it comes to songs like The Night Bus, Double Double Toil and Trouble, as well as the Patronus, it really was a different side. I also feel that because the kids got so much better with their acting, there was definitely more of a natural feel between Ron, Harry, and Hermione. It was really nice to finally see Emma Watson getting her acting chops together, and all the other kids around them like Devin Murray and Tom Felton. We got some really good performances from all the kids, as well as the adults. However, there is one thing that I will always say. While it is a very good movie, so much is taken away based on what we read in the book. After the fat lady was attacked in her portrait by Sirius Black, did you even remember the fact that there were trolls guarding the dormitory houses for Hogwarts? I didn't remember that until I picked up the book. The fact that we didn't get any Quidditch in the movie was not too thrilling for me. The fact that there were certain parts of the book that were actually switched around for cinematic value, because this was a very short movie, and it just seemed to me that even though they made it a little bit better from all the other areas, I kind of felt that it was the most choppiest of all of them. It's just because of the fact that everything just seemed so out of place, and everything just wasn't where they were supposed to be, especially the firebolt. That's all I'm going to say about that. And another thing that I'm not too happy about is, in the third book, Hermione and Ron have such a bigger role to play as far as helping Harry try and get through his schooling without worrying about Sirius Black breathing down his neck. And then, all of a sudden, they're practically non-existent. The movie really revolves around Harry and him talking with Professor Lupin. It's these little problems that I had with the movie that didn't give me the overall joy that I felt after watching those first two films as much as this one. And with that, I still say that it's a good movie. It's really not a bad movie. But as someone who loves those books so much and loves this story to death, it's very hard for me to truly love this movie and give it a perfect score. I will still say that the books are great, the movies are great on their own. If you compare books to the film, of course you're going to find the books being better. But The Prisoner of Azkaban is a very good installment film-wise, and I am going to give Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban 2.5 stars out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss everything Harry Potter, books, films, what have you, and please sit tight, guys. I know that the Goblet of Fire Illustrated Edition couldn't come soon enough, but we're gonna have to wait a little while. So enjoy yourselves. I'll look forward to seeing you guys again in the end of 2018. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.